East Division crime-wise, first of all, it's a pleasure to be here, certainly with you folks and with the councilman and Chief Solorzano, a hero of mine. We're very, very fortunate, first of all, to have a world-class state university and then also to have Chief Solorzano here to talk with you today. So very, very good company today. East Division crime is kind of a mixed bag right now. Our violent crime is down 4%, which is good. Now when I'm saying violent crime, I'm talking about murder, sexual assault, robbery, shootings, things of this nature. In the East Division, Cherry Avenue out, the water line up to Delamo, violent crime down 4%. Troubling, however, property crime, residential burglary, grand theft, petty theft, auto burglary, up 25%. Year to date as of February. So we have some things to certainly keep an eye on. So it is a mixed bag. In fact, violent crime-wise, robbery is up, our auto burglaries are up, our bike thefts are up, our auto theft is up, and our garage burglary is up. The good news, our aggravated assaults are down, our residential burglaries are down a little bit, and then our petty theft is down as well. And I always tell people, don't get too caught up in the statistics. Instead, do everything that you can to prevent yourself from becoming a statistic. You can do that by becoming, remember, Gladys Kravitz, keeping an eye out for your neighbors, being a good nosy neighbor, and some other tips as well. Buy a car alarm, install it, operate it. Buy a burglar alarm for your home. When you leave, make sure that you activate it. If you leave your house to get the mail or go out in the backyard and garden, it's a good idea to lock your house up. In fact, if you've ever considered buying a security camera system or a surveillance system, now might not be a bad time to do that. In fact, we've enjoyed a few successes here recently where people have actually made the investment of buying these security camera systems, these home surveillance systems, and it actually resulted in the arrests of people who have broken into some homes. So we're seeing a good bang for our buck when we can use people's private technology to help us fight crime. A couple of other crime prevention tips I'd like to give you that was mentioned during the public safety meeting. Given the economy and the way the economy is, unemployment, we are seeing people resort to increasingly desperate measures in some case, and actually getting quite creative with the way that they want to victimize other people. Case in point, scams are a big deal right now. Telephone scams, I'll give you one in particular that happens too often, and that is, for example, an elderly person typically goes to a gas station, starts filling up the tank with gasoline, and somebody comes over and looks at the car and says, hey, you've got a dent on your quarter panel of your car, let me fix that, and they get out the Bondo, and without even asking for permission, they start Bondoing the car and spackling it and taping it out and throwing some paint on there and said, hey, I just fixed your dent, you owe me $60. And a lot of people are intimidated by that. And a lot of people think, well, you know, they get confused and are a little bit vulnerable, and they will actually fork over their money. And this is a scam that's going on. So we certainly encourage people that if you're not asking for services or if somebody approaches you in that respect, make sure that you give us a ring. One other thing I can tell you, when you're giving your personal information out at a store, for example, sometimes the clerk will know you and say, hello, Bill, or hello, Martha. And sometimes there are people behind you who are listening to this personal information, and we've seen some cases, not recently, but they've happened nonetheless, where a person has been followed to their home, and the suspect will watch the person go into their house after getting their name, and then go up, knock on the door, and say, hi, Martha, you remember me? My name's Jim. I used to live across the street from you when I was a kid. Can we come in and talk? My wife and I come in and talk, see how you've been. Well, typically an elderly person will be susceptible to that. Well, I don't really remember, Jim, but yeah, come on in. And while one person's engaging the mark, if you will, for conversation, the other person is rifling the house for burglary. So these are some of the things that we're seeing people resort to. It's not widespread, but they're scams nonetheless, and we really need to be careful on those. Speaking of breaking into automobiles, I want to give you a quick tidbit from a crook that we recently arrested. Hey, you know what? We become better police officers, right, Chief? We become better police officers when we actually investigate and when we actually talk with the crooks and we get intelligence from them. And if we're smart enough, we can garner a lot of intelligence from them, and then we take that, we become better police officers, and then in turn we're able to pass it on to the community. Little tidbit from a crook we recently arrested. He goes from car to car to car, never makes forced entry. He does nothing but check door handles. On average, he says every time he checks about 10 cars, he'll find 1 or 2 cars with open door handles. And those are the ones that he goes inside. He will rifle through the glove box, he'll rifle through the center console, he'll take what he wants, and then he's on to the next one. If he checks 100 cars, then he's getting about a hit rate of 10%. At the end of 100 cars, he's actually made theft from about 10 automobiles. And we have people leaving GPS, computers, money, laptops, cell phones, sunglasses, a number of personal items of value. And he says he never breaks into a car because he knows if he does that, it's a felony. But if he checks a door handle and the door is open and he can go inside the car without making forced entry, he's committed a misdemeanor. And he said, I know if you catch me for one of the misdemeanors that I committed, I'll be out of jail in a day or 2. And I'll be back doing the same exact thing.
Wow,
So if we can learn a lesson from this, it's, you know what? There are people out there who are doing this. Please lock your cars up.